Ford's E-Transit Custom aims to set new standards for what an all-electric mid-sized van can be. Quite simply, it's more thoroughly engineered than most of its segment rivals, and there are some clever features that you won't find almost anywhere else. In short, if you're needing a full battery LCV of this size, you simply can't ignore this one. Could this be the most significant road test that you'll view all year? Well, quite possibly. This is, after all, the very first all-electric version of Britain's best-selling vehicle of any kind. Welcome to Ford's E-Transit Custom. If you're not convinced by the current crop of mid-sized EV vans, we think that you might be by this one. The significance of this model is really difficult to overstate. There are more Ford Transits, and particularly Ford Transit Customs, on the road than any other van. Imagine the environmental impact of a growing proportion of them switching away from smoky diesel power, a change which starts right here and right now with this battery-powered LCV. Now, unlike the larger 2-ton Series E Transit model that we've recently tried and quite liked, this E-Transit Custom isn't Ford's own work, but the product of a shared project with LCV partner Volkswagen, the fruit of which has also been a mechanically identical EV version of the current generation Volkswagen Transporter. Now, Ford also produces an E-Tourneo custom passenger-carrying MPV version of this model, but it's the E-Transit Custom panel van that's our focus here. You can find out more about this kind of model by downloading the Car and Driving app. And if your interest is specifically in this E-Transit Custom, you'll need to stay with us for the industry's most comprehensive review, the Car and Driving Road Test. This model line was almost half a decade behind its rivals in offering the option of a full EV variant, but Ford has used that time to deliver a much more polished end result here, and the 64 kilowatt-hour usable capacity battery that all E-Transit Custom models share is paired with a much wider choice of drive motors than you usually get in this class. Choose between 3 different outputs, either the 136 PS version, the mid-level 218 PS powertrain we're trying here, or even the rare top 285 PS model, should you want the most powerful Transit Custom ever. On all E-Transit Customs, the drive motor is fitted directly to the vehicle's rear floor, removing the need for a dedicated subframe, and is rotated 90 degrees to maximise load space and reduce weight and complexity. This Ford is the first ever electric vehicle to use a standard vapour-injected heat pump technology to heat and cool the cabin. It's a system designed to deliver improved energy efficiency for optimum driving range. So it's slightly disappointing to find that across the lineup the quoted driving range figures are really no better than, and in some cases slightly behind, the prevailing class standard. The 136 PS E-Transit Custom variant most will choose is capable of up to 204 miles between charges, which about matches the class standard, but no more. Inevitably, that figure takes a dive the more power you choose. This 218 PS model manages up to 195 miles, and the top 285 PS version can only manage 165 miles between charges. We've talked about the different power outputs you can have. Well, they all share the same Eager class leading 415 Nm torque figure transmitted through the front wheels. There are 5 driving modes: normal, eco, sport, slippery and tow haul. The power surge in sport is fun for a bit and gets you to 62 miles an hour from rest in about 7 seconds, but you really don't need anything more than the restricted forward thrust of eco for regular day-to-day use. If you've driven a few of the latest mid-sized EV vans and you're taking the back road home in this one, it'll soon become clear that this is the best handling LCV in the segment. Body roll and traction are both top-notch for a van of this sort, but whether that'll be important enough to operators to pay the prices that Ford is asking here is another question. They may be more interested to hear that this E-Transit Custom can tow up to 2.3 tonnes, considerably more than direct rivals. At a cruise, this LCV is wonderfully quiet, even for an EV. There's not quite as much steering feel as you might remember from the previous generation Transit Custom, but the helm's light feel makes this van very easy to drive in town, where the reasonably tight turning circle is useful, 10.9 metres curb to curb in the L1 version or 12.1 metres in this L2. During urban driving, you'll notice that ride comfort is another thing about this Ford that's class leading, which will be welcome across the potholes and speed humps that are such a feature of city life these days. As for brake regen, well, you can increase that with an L button on the gear selector stalk, or there's a full one pedal setting in the center screen menus that can very nearly bring the van to a standstill when you come off the throttle. The first thing to say is that you don't have to have your E-Transit Custom looking like this. As you can see, we've got a striped up sports spec model here, but nearly all customers will of course choose one of the more conservative looking trim levels. This EV model is differentiated from its diesel powered and PHEV counterparts by this unique front grille with silver highlights. As with other variants, this is flanked by angular slim LED headlamps, which are topped by wraparound daytime running lights. Ford talks about the rebalanced proportions and confident stance of this Mark II design, which become more obvious as you walk around it. There are two body lengths, an L1 at 5,050mm and this L2 at 5,450mm. Two roof heights, and as we've told you elsewhere in this film, three other different body styles if you need to be able to take more passengers than can be accommodated by this panel van. Wheel sizes are 16 or 17 inch. Inside, the column-mounted shifter, the electronic handbrake and the squarical steering wheel combine to help cross-cab access. That's a really valuable feature for drivers who park in tight areas and want to avoid getting out into live traffic. The instrument screen is 8 inches in size with a central digital speedo and drive assist graphic. Pressing this right-hand steering wheel button can bring up a menu covering things like trip data, nav instructions and your audio and phone selections. Infotainment's taken care of by this 13-inch Sync 4 display angled towards the driver for ease of use, which is powered by a 5G modem for super fast connectivity to the Ford Pro Tech stack. There's a clear home screen with segmented sections. Here we've got nav mapping, radio and phone options. There are settings, features and apps shortcut options on the right hand side of the display. From here you can activate a vehicle hotspot and use the Alexa enabled Ford Assistant voice control system. Unfortunately, you have to operate all the climate functions via this monitor using the permanently displaying climate options along the bottom of the screen. As for cab stowage features, well, because of this model's roof-mounted airbag, that's a segment first, there's no overhead shelf, but there's this large area behind the two dashboard screens, large enough to take a laptop or an A4 file. On the passenger side, there's an upper and a lower lidded glove box, both are small, and you get a large stowage area beneath the passenger bench that would easily accommodate the charging leads. Pulling down the central part of the center seat back, well, that reveals a workstation surface with cubbies, and there's a deep door bin each side with a big bottle holder and a small tray above. There's a cup holder at either end of the dash top and another in a pull-out panel by your left-hand knee. There's also a center cubby for your phone beneath 12-volt and both USB-A and USB-C ports. All models get a load-through bulkhead, allowing you to poke long items into the cab from the load bay, though we haven't got it here because this particular model's been fitted with the optional B&O sound system. Talking of options, as with the diesel Transit Custom, a clever extra cost touch is a tilting steering wheel whose rim can be flipped up so that it lies flat and horizontal. You can then put a tray onto it to create a little table for working or eating. Neat. There are some nice detailed design touches, like carefully chosen grains on the floor covering that avoid trapping dirt and water, and a heating and ventilation system with a neat driver focused mode that uses sensors to direct airflow only to occupied seats. An intelligent windscreen monitors temperature and humidity and automatically makes small heat and airflow changes to proactively keep the windscreen clear for improved efficiency and ease of use. If you've specified the optional power on board system, there's a 3-pin socket for it down here by the side of the passenger bench. As we filmed in summer 2025, Ford was requiring you to put aside around £46,000 excluding VAT as a price starting point for the E-Transit Custom in this panel van form. But that's before subtraction of the government's £5,000 plug-in van grant. So most customers will probably end up paying somewhere in the £40,000 to £45,000 bracket when all said and done, which is about the same as Ford wants for the alternative PHEV plug-in hybrid version of this model. For reference, the next model up in the Transit lineup, the much larger E-Transit 2-ton model, well, that was priced from around £48,000 as we filmed. Now that's after grant deduction. We're focusing on the E-Transit Custom in its most usual panel van form here, but you can also get it in 3 other body styles. The multi-cab, which gives you an innovative L-shaped bulkhead with 2 extra rear seats and doors each side. Then there's the double cabin van, that's basically a crew cab with a full-sized extra rear seating row, or the Combi, which can carry up to 8 passengers. And on the subject of passengers, there's also a more luxurious MPV version, the E-Tornado Custom, which can also carry 8, and as we filmed, was priced from around £61,000, and that's including VAT. All E-Transit Custom models use the same 65 kilowatt-hour battery, and this Ford is available in its volume 136 PS motor form with either Trend or Plusher Limited spec. Find just over £1,500 more with that limited spec, and you can get the gutsier 218 PS motor, which you'll have to have with the more eye-catchingly trimmed Sport model. That's what we're trying here, by which time you'll be spending just over £50,000 excluding VAT and before grant deduction at the time of filming. If you simply must have the ultimate E-Transit Custom, there's a top MSRT variant with 285 PS, but that really is expensive, priced as we filmed at just over £62,000 excluding VAT before grant deduction. As with all the brand's LCVs, the E-Transit Custom is being sold by Ford Pro, the Blue Oval brand's commercial vehicle division, and there's a choice of short or long wheelbase body shapes. Just as Volkswagen has with its identically engineered e-Transporter model in this segment, Ford has chosen to price this model a bit above the mainstream opposition, by which we mean the Renault Trafic E-Tech Electric, the Maxus e-Deliver 5 and Maxus e-Deliver 7, and the shared Stellantis design badged either as a Vauxhall Vivaro Electric, a Fiat e-Scudo, a Peugeot e-Expert, a Citroën e-Dispatch, or a Toyota ProAce Electric. Only the Mercedes e-Vito is pricier in this class. If you don't need quite as much space in an EV van of this sort, bear in mind that a Kia PV5 Cargo is priced from under £30,000, with a Beyond Pelcan costing much the same. What about E-Transit Custom spec? Well, even entry-level Trend versions are pretty well equipped, with automatic headlamps, tinted glass, and a 13-inch Sync 4 center touchscreen that comes with a 5G embedded modem, plus LED headlamps with a coast-to-coast front light bar, LED tail lamps, body color bumpers, full wheel covers, parking sensors, cruise control, and a heat pump to preserve range in colder weather. Inside, there's air conditioning, a rear view camera, a load-through bulkhead, and driver's seat lumbar support. Plusher Limited variants get 16-inch alloy wheels, keyless entry, a Sensico faux leather covered steering wheel, heated seats, under passenger seat stowage and an alarm, plus super bright LED load compartment lights, a moulded load floor liner and power folding mirrors. The remaining trim levels are really aimed at owner drivers. This sport spec gives you bonnet stripes, a rear spoiler and 17-inch sport alloy wheels, plus dual zone climate control, a power adjustable driver's seat and a wireless phone charging mat. Top MSRT trim comes with a full body kit, 19-inch multi-spoke alloy wheels with blue calipers, ambient interior lighting, a sports heated steering wheel and deeply side bolstered sports seats trimmed in eco leather upholstery. On to options. Let's start with three extras we really like. Fitted here is the 2.3 kilowatt power on board system, which allows you to power your tools from the vehicle's battery without the need for a separate generator. There's also a clever tilting steering wheel that can fold itself into a desk surface. Another new feature we like is the Delivery Assist pack, which can help streamline every delivery by automating some of the process to save time and improve security. When enabled, Delivery Assist activates when the driver shifts into park. This Ford will then automatically switch on its hazard lights, close any open windows and lock the door once the driver leaves the van. When returning, the driver can keylessly enter and start the vehicle, whereupon the hazard lights will switch off and the windows will return to their previous position. Otherwise, the options list has the usual familiar items. There are navigation packs, which apart from a GPS system, include intelligent adaptive cruise control and some extra safety features. This test model's Navigation Plus pack includes a 360-degree camera system too. You can add an extra side loading door and have power-operated side doors too. You can also add a smart digital rear view mirror, cargo area climate control, a digital tachograph, various door lock packs, engine underbody protection, super bright load compartment lights if your chosen variant doesn't have them, and the usual cargo area wooden floor and side protection panels. There's a digital key option allowing you to access the vehicle via your smartphone, and a void base trim, and you can add this test model 6-speaker B&O sound system, though that does mean you have to do without the load-through bulkhead. Here we've swapped the usual twin rear doors for a rear liftgate. On to safety. The engineers behind this model comprehensively analysed packaging, materials, safety and weight to deliver an architecture that integrates the battery into the load floor above the sill flange, eliminating the need for separate crash structures. And there's lots of camera tech too. All versions of this model get pre-collision assist, a lane keeping system, wrong way alert, driver alert, and speed limit assist with traffic sign recognition and an intelligent speed limiter. Plus, there are the usual twin front airbags linked to an eCall system. This sport spec adds curtain and side mounted airbags. If one of the optional navigation packs is fitted, you also get a blind spot information system, cross-traffic alert, lane centering assist, reverse brake assist and exit warning to stop doors being opened into the face of oncoming traffic. Whichever of the four E-Transit custom body shapes that you choose, this van comes with the usual split rear doors, but as an option you can specify the rear liftgate that we have here, although that'll obviously compromise loading when backed into tight spaces. Ford says that the underbody components here have been shrink wrapped around the dry battery for optimum space and weight efficiency, which ensures that there are relatively few practicality compromises over the diesel version. Let's take a closer look. There are two body lengths, L1 and this L2, and two roof heights, this H1 version or H2. The door aperture height is 1,314mm on this H1 version and 1,814mm on H2 variants. Right, what about the cargo area? Well, the L1 panel van body shape offers a maximum load length of 2,602mm. This L2 variant extends that to 3,002mm. With the load through bulkhead in use, that's standard on most models, although it's absent here. That load length figures extended to 3,050mm with the L1 and 3,450mm with the L2. On all variants, the cargo area width is 1,777mm, narrowing to 1,392mm between the wheel arches. Unlike with most other vans in this segment, if this conventional H1 roof height isn't enough, you can also specify a taller roof height, H2. That means a cargo volume that can be anywhere between 5.8 cubic meters and 9 cubic meters, depending on your body shape of choice. This being an EV, you might worry that potential payload will fall over the diesel version. Actually, the maximum gross payload of 1,056 kilograms is only 351 kilograms down on the best you'll get from an EcoBlue diesel variant. You can take up to 170 kilograms on the roof too. A class-leadingly wide side load door aperture enhances loading, and an integrated access step makes climbing up to the load compartment easier. Now, it's a very practical load space inside, and here's a great example of that, the super bright load compartment lights, which you have to pay extra for with the base trim level. There are twin lights on the roof near the bulkhead and another in the middle. Plus there are further two more super bright lights at the rear, which can be independently switched on when you need them for nighttime loading. The rear is also where you'll find the two 3-pin AC 240 volt plug sockets for the optional power on board system that we have fitted here. There's another one in the cab too. And this allows you to power your tools from the vehicle's battery without the need for a separate generator. On to running costs. We gave you the EV range figures in our driving section. Ford quotes an official miles per kWh figure of 2.80 miles per kWh for the most economical trained version. A Trip Energy part of the center screen shows battery usage for route driving, climate and accessories. And there's a Pro Power on board screen that shows energy draw. The E-Transit Custom supports DC fast charging up to 125 kilowatts for a 15 to 80% recharge in 41 minutes. A clever charge profile front loads the energy to enable quick, useful top-ups, and the system delivers almost 24 miles of range in just 5 minutes using a 125 kilowatt DC charger. Ford Pro customers can access the Blue Oval charging network, Europe's largest, with over 300,000 chargers and growing. And every E-Transit custom is sold with a 12-month complimentary subscription to access public charging via the Blue Oval charging network. As for AC battery replenishment, well, the E-Transit Custom's 11 kilowatt AC 3-phase onboard charger is capable of fully recharging the battery in 7.8 hours. So customers will be able to recharge overnight after a shift. AC charging via a 7.4 kilowatt wall box obviously takes much longer, around 10 hours from empty to full. During busy days, operators can track current charge state on the go using the Ford Pass Pro smartphone app. Plus, clever Ford Pro charging software can ensure that your E-Transit Custom is always charging on the most affordable electricity rates. Service intervals, well, they're every 2 years with unlimited mileage in that time, and there's a 3-year 100,000 mile warranty. The E-Transit Custom represents the next generation of mid-sized full electric vans, and as such makes most of its more familiar competitors look distinctly out of date. A little disappointingly, there aren't huge gains in EV driving range compared to the class norm, but this Ford drives a whole lot better than its rivals and also delivers a whole series of clever ideas that will make running an LCV of this kind easier. We particularly like the Ford Pro charging software to help with scheduling cheaper charging, the tilting steering wheel, the clever delivery assist feature, the power on board work tools powering package, and the multi-cab version's unusual L-shaped bulkhead design. Given the continuing wave of demand for vans of this size, fueled by the British public's insatiable desire for home delivery, for sales success, this Ford probably didn't need to be as good as it's ended up being, but impressive it is. The only potential issue being pricing, which could make some operators think twice, and which will need to be alleviated by competitive finance rates. Now, if we were considering an electrified Transit Custom, we'd also want to take into account that this model comes in a PHEV plug-in hybrid form, a model that on longer journeys won't leave you at the mercy of the UK's currently rather flaky public charging network. But if a full EV mid-size van it has to be, then right now this one's the standard setter in its class.